Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and thank you for coming back for another FY podcast. Today, I have a very different person. He is definitely an artist, but a different kind of an artist. He's a sculptor. I mean, usually it's the actors or that kind of celebrity, but you're a celebrity on your own, and it is my friend Amin Gulgee. He is a sculptor. He is a friend. He has been a real pride to Pakistan because I think he's one of the few sculptors. I don't know that many sculptors. And also he did it in a very different way and just made it larger than life, if I may say so, right? Okay. So, Amin, how are you?
I'm wonderful, and thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. Yeah, I'm a sculptor, curator, and I have a strong interest in performance, both in curating performance art as well as enacting it. Yeah. And I've been doing my craft for about 35, I'm very old, Freya, but 35 years now.
We're the same now.
नहीं तुम तो बच्ची हो
नहीं मैं बच्ची नहीं हूँ
You're my honey child.
I'm wearing your jewelry today.
I know.
I'm like your Allah in my neck, and there's another one right there, and I'm so happy that I still have it.
You know, I stopped making jewelry in 2007. I went cold turkey.
Oh, why?
Because at that point, Freya, my sculpture, my installations were getting very large. Yeah. I was curating a lot. I curated the first Karachi Biennale in 2017. I mean, and performance I was doing a lot of performance work, and something had to go. Yeah. And I love making jewelry. Yeah. These are all one of a kind pieces. Yeah. And like your piece says, Allah. I mean, I love making this work.
Yeah. And it's also not gone black, and you put stones in it.
It's gold plated. And even if it does tarnish, you can always re-gold plate the piece.
Right. It's beautiful. And I have more pieces. I'm so glad that I still have them. And whenever I wear them, people will ask me.
Oh,
that's
really nice.
And I'll say that this is, chalo, I own a little bit of, just a little bit, but I have this also.
Meri Jaan, you own my face. It's a self-portrait.
Oh, really?
This is me touching myself.
Oh, wow.
You can see my nose and my lips.
But there's a horn coming out of your nose.
Yes, it's a very old work of mine.
And why?
And when I went trekking up in the mountains, I collected all of these horns left over, like on the trail. And I picked them up and I brought them back into my workshop. This was in the late 90s.
I remember that.
And then I did this whole collection of sculpture and for some reason, they really spoke to me. And I started doing the self-portraiture with horns in it. And this is in bronze, copper, and horn.
That was the one I bought from you. And my ex-husband said, it's so ugly, return it. And I was so...
I'm not an artist that tries to please anybody.
No, but it wasn't about him. It was me who liked it.
I know.
And that was...
but I'm glad it's an ex.
Yes, me too. And then I went and got another one with the same horn.
Exactly.
It's so strange life is.
And, it is what it is. And what you're supposed to have, you have. I'm a real believer in that. Like, my life has been, you could call it a glitch. Yeah. Nothing has been really planned, Freya. I never planned to be an artist. Yeah. In fact, my parents were really liberal. You know my parents, right? That's what's wonderful about us. We go so back. And the only thing, Freya, they ever asked me was, Beta, artist na bano.
Really?
Yeah. And I agreed with them. Do not be an artist. I agreed with them, Freya, 100%. Because... Look, Freya, being an artist, your son is a musician. It's a difficult life.
Yes, it is.
And I wasn't romantic about the artist lifestyle because I saw my parents and how hard they had to work. And I was like, you know what? I want an obscure life. I had a green card when I was going to America. I knew I could convert it into a passport.
Right.
And I thought, I'm never coming back home and I'm not going to be an artist. So I went to Yale and I took economics like a good South Asian.
But you also did art history.
That was only freshman year. This French American girl, Dominique Malaquet, took me to my first art history class, and I went there kicking and screaming. I'm like, Dominique, I want nothing to do with the arts. Right. And she's like, no, you have to come to it, and then you couldn't say no to her. And I went there, and I hated economics. I really, really hated it. I hated it. No, it was so boring. Yeah, I still hate it. Anyway, so the pictures were beautiful. It was Baroque gardens. It was so beautiful, and I started taking one class after another. I didn't even tell my parents I was doing a second major. Only when I won the university prize, I'm like, Mommy, Daddy, I won a prize. I did a second major in art history. I won a prize for Islamic gardens. And they're like, oh, that's great. Don't be an artist. I'm like, I don't know what I want to be at that point. Yeah. And so that was my life. I did major in economics. I completed my major.
Wow.
Yeah, I did it.
So so you were born in Karachi
Right, born and bred here.
and you went where? American school?
I went, high school was the American school.
Okay.
It was super small, 20
You have one
people.
sister also, right?
I have one sister, Zarmeen.
Yeah.
And she went to convent and then grammar school.
Yeah, this is the
she,
style of-
She did an undergraduate at Brown University and
wonderful.
Thunderbird for graduate studies.
And she doesn't live in Pakistan.
No, she never came back. And it was so funny because she's the normal one, Priya, and she's the beautiful one. My sister's beautiful. She's
Okay.
not like me at all. I mean, she's beautiful.
I think you're beautiful.
Oh, Mary John.
Everything you do is beautiful. I've seen you turn
I've got a face only your mother could love. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We're not, luckily, I don't have to rely on it.
Yeah.
No, my sister's very, very normal. I mean, you have to understand the way we grew up. It was extremely Bohemian, right?
Yes.
My parents were Bohemian.
Right.
They were artists. Both, they were
Tell me about how you grew up.
Oh my God! It was like a circus, Freya.
Right.
You'd come home like at high school. I hid in books.
Okay.
I couldn't deal, so I just hid in books. Stories would take me elsewhere.
Okay.
And then when you'd come home, there was a carnival every day. A carnival in the house.
Like people would come over.
People coming, going, whatever. So I would just go into my room,
Yeah.
lock the door.
जो तुम्हारा ऊपर था.
I had a little
तुम्हारा
attic
KD
room.
कारसाज वाला.
Exactly. I had a tiny 10
I
foot
saw
by
it.
10
I've
foot
been there.
room
I've been there.
that I chose myself.
Yes.
It was an attic room.
Yes.
And I'd go there, lock the door, and read.
Wow.
And that reading just it was my escape. I could go here. I could go to civilizations and cultures and just vanish in my books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the carnival was what? Music and people
Music,
buying art.
people, activity, entertaining. It just continued.
Okay.
Projects. My father was always doing something. So
Yeah.
was my mother.
I went to that house. I may remember the lapis lazuli.
Right.
Because he used to do a lot of representational art in the
He did.
beginning.
Initially, he started off as a portrait artist.
Portrait artist. And I saw the Aga Khan.
Right, and
you
then he
know.
went into abstraction.
Yeah.
Then he did, my father has
But the
this
camels, I would see really, he was very good artist, like completely he could do.
No, but he'd do it in lapis lazuli, in the Pietra Dora tradition of
Right.
using lapis lazuli.
Yeah.
He did mosaic in that.
Yeah.
And he was incredible. No, for me, he's a genius. And he was a good dad. Age cheez hoti hai to be an artist.
Yeah.
But, he was such my parents were incredible. My mom was an incredible mom, although she worked all the time. And that's why,
But she was managing your father?
she was managing my father. Yeah, she did everything.
Right.
My
She did.
father could be left alone with his art.
But that's great.
She did everything else.
Yeah.
And although she, did a master's in chemistry, my father went to Harvard and Columbia.
Really?
Yes.
But to major in what?
Engineering, civil engineering.
And then he
my
ended
father
up as
went
an
to
artist.
Harvard and Columbia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he met my mother in London, where he courted her. She was 10 years younger. She just finished her master's in chemistry from Ohio.
Right.
He met her in London, and she said, "I'll marry you if the Aga Khan marries us."
Oh.
He was working as an engineer for the Aga Khan.
Ah.
He called him down to Paris. She borrowed a sari, and they eloped in Paris. Isn't that cliche?
In those days.
Yeah.
60s hoga yaar.
Yeah,
वो तो-
exactly, 60s.
Zarmeen is older than you.
No, Zarmeen is younger than me.
Acha, okay.
And gorgeous.
No, she's gorgeous, but you're gorgeous. But I don't. So I'm just thinking the son does economics, the father does, mother does chemistry, and they all end up in the arts.
I know. Sad, huh?
Sad, nahi?
Yeah.
No, it's great. I mean,
it is what it is. No, but my father always wanted to be an artist. See,
Oh,
my
okay.
grandfather was a civil servant, and then he lost his job, and he couldn't get another job for 13 years. So my father's, family went from being very well off because being
Yes.
being a civil servant back
Right.
in
Of
days of
course.
colonialism was a
Yeah.
big deal, to nothing. So you had to go through life on scholarship.
Right.
And the only scholarships that were available were for engineers. So that's why he went to Harvard and Columbia for engineering.
Wow.
And then art was his love. And after he married my mom, he had the courage to
do it. His
do it.
passion.
Because you know why?
Yeah.
Because my mom said, "Hey, listen." She didn't like the scene because there was very little of a scene back then. She said, "Gulgee, I will not have you kowtow to Begum Sahibas, grand dames. I will not have this." So she started a marble crafts industry.
Okay.
And she did all the mosaic flooring for the round mosque in Defense, and she did these big projects.
Oh.
And so we had a regular income coming in the early years of my father's career.
So he was doing the mosaics?
No, she was.
She was doing it.
She was
chemistry
doing it. She
lessons.
was one of the first women working in Pakistan.
See, I never knew that.
Yeah, nobody, Zara Gulgee. And
Yeah.
her name was Zareen, but she refused to be called Zareen. She was like, my
More
name
hip.
is Zara.
Zip.
Exactly.
More hip.
Yeah. And see, I was brought up by a strong woman, and they're
Yeah.
the only kind of women I'm drawn towards.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So then 80s, so you go to college,
I go to college.
You
I'm
come
a
back.
total...
Did you have a great time or no?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, okay. That's great. You had a good time in Yale. Because Yale... I love that laugh. Love that laugh.
No, you have to understand.
What?
I was so introverted in high school,
Really?
living in books, and suddenly I exploded in New
Yeah,
Haven, right? I
yeah.
was like splat.
Wow.
And it
because
was great. I did
Pakistan can
everything.
be
I
like
did
that.
everything under the sun. And it
Because
was
you
fun.
went from an attic dude, you
I
went to
went
like...
to the attic to like OMG.
right.
It was wonderful. I
Right.
met wonderful friends. I still have them from
Okay.
college. I met John.
Yes.
And then John came back with me to
I
Pakistan.
know. John is a friend and works with Natural
My
Geographic.
partner,
And
yes.
partner. And I've known him also as long as...
You've known him as
Yes.
long as you've known me, Freya.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
He's
know?
like family.
Yeah, so we both met in university
Yes,
when I was
wonderful.
18.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's wonderful. He's like this gentle...
Yes, but you know what was funny was we were best friends in university, and his father is a famous novelist.
Oh.
But his father wanted him to be a writer, and he wanted to be a writer.
Oh.
My father, of course,
Wanted
was
you
a
to do
famous
economics.
artist and did not want me to be an artist, and I did not want to be an artist.
yeah.
So in these 4 years at Yale, I never talked about art.
Oh.
I even kept art history kind of like as a dirty secret.
Okay.
But it drew me. It drew me. And, one person I have to mention is Oleg Grabar was my advisor. They weren't allowing me to do my thesis at Yale because at that time there was no Islamic Art History department at Yale.
Okay.
And so my dad knew Oleg Grabar, and he's the authority on Islamic art history. He's
Is he
like
Turkish?
No, he's French.
French, okay.
Atheist, secular, French,
Right,
intellectual.
okay, right.
And he was based at Harvard.
Right.
So I called him up. He he said, okay, fine, I'll let you be, you can be, I'll advise you. And then they allowed me. And he's the reason I won the prize. I had one meeting with him, but it was instrumental.
Yeah.
And he's the reason I won.
These are people who inspire you. In life.
Johnny, he put me on the right track.
that's
Freya.
what I'm saying.
He was rasta dikha
Direction.
the direction. Like, look here,
journey.
Amin.
This is
And
the
I was like, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And he was right, and he helped
Wow,
me win the
wonderful.
prize.
How
Yeah,
wonderful.
and that's became my. It's so funny because, as you know, my father did calligraphy.
Yes.
But since I had such a block against art, reading about Islamic art history is what took me back to the arts.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Because you're reading about gardens, and my thesis was on gardens and
Islamic
the
art.
philosophy, and
Yeah.
that's what kind of drew me back into the arts, art history.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Wow, these are all beautiful stories. And then you come back.
Loser!
But why did you come back?
I know. It was so stupid, Freya. I look at my life and I'm like, Amin, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So we are living in New York.
Right.
At that point, I was doing jewelry. I was selling my stuff on West Broadway. There used to be an art jewelry area over there. That was, selling my shit there. And I'm happy. We're in New York. We're having a good time. And then suddenly I was itching to do bigger pieces, like sculptures, like shit like that, bigger pieces. And I thought, you know what? My parents have a backyard. It's free. I can go there and make larger pieces.
Right.
And then John thought we were moving for a month. And I wasn't thinking because I stopped thinking. And
But you're also young at that time, no?
but I've continued not thinking, Freya. It has been, look, I made 2 plans, like economics and not coming back, like they both failed.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we came back, and it was really funny. And this is when we were collaborating. It was the 90s, the late 90s. And Pakistan Karachi was exploding. I mean, there was a civil war going on, but there was a lot of creative energy there. You were there, Tapu was there. there. I mean, there's so many. I can't even begin naming
photographers,
models, Anwar
makeup
Shafi's,
artists.
you know,
Anwar Shafi,
you know, we were all together.
Amin Gulgee, I have to tell you, my first exhibition, he bought a print.
Yes.
You remember the black and white print? You came and
I
you bought the print from me.
I do.
Wonderful.
I do.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were all together.
Right.
And you know, but at that point, there was only one gallery, was Ali Imam Saab.
That's right.
And I remember going to Imam Saab and saying, I want to make sculpture, Imam Saab. And he was like, no. Sculpture's controversial and it doesn't sell. It doesn't sell, it's too controversial. I put like 6 months, I just went and I asked until he got so tired of me and so sick of me. He's like, okay, fine, have a show.
Right.
And that's how I got my first show. And at that point, John got his first story for the National Geographic on Hunza.
Right. Yeah.
So and he got it on Pakistan.
And Hunza is also Aga Khani. How do you feel about being Aga Khani?
Ismaili.
Ismaili,
fine.
Sorry, I said the wrong thing, right?
No, it's fine. I mean...
My daughter-in-law is Ismaili, by the way.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, no, it's good. Why?
Oh, no, what? Fine. No, it's all good. I'm open to all religions, including my own.
Yes.
No, it's great.
Right.
No, it's fine. It's a very, like all religions are beautiful. Freya, not having a religion, it's who you are as a human being, right?
Exactly.
That really matters.
It's not being human that matters.
And then doing,
doing good stuff.
And enjoying life.
Yes.
Like there's a wonderful phrase in Islam, a line from the book is, which of the favors of God can you deny? It's a wonderful chapter. It goes on, God has done this and God has done that. Which of the favors of God can one deny? And it's like, it all has to be celebrated. Right. Everything. The body, the soul, it's all interconnected.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Nature, everything.
Everything. Your body, sensual pleasure, spiritual pleasure, all interconnected.
Right. I agree. So, okay, so then you do this exhibition. Did anything sell?
Yeah, it had to. No, Freya, it had to. You don't understand. When I came back...
Did mommy help you in that?
You know, when I came back, my parents were just like, what the heck? They were really... My father was like, leave me alone. I need to paint, which I could completely understand. And my mother came to me and said, Beta, do you want to live off your father's money for the rest of your life?
Oh, she's the smart one.
Yeah, and I said, no, Ma, I really, and I didn't, because both my parents are self-made, Freya, and it was really important to me that...
And also on scholarships.
Johnny, they were self-made. I thought they paid for I didn't go on school, they paid for my education. Okay. And I always told myself, after I graduate now, I'll be on my own. I'm not going to take money from them. It was really, that's why I didn't want to be an artist. I was like, I don't think I can do. No, also, how can I don't know. I don't have the courage. Honestly, I was scared, terrified, right? And and then my mother was really upset because I'd done academic. I'm a nerd. I can't help it. I like getting in, studying. And so my mother was really disappointed and upset. And she was like, you did so well at school. What are you doing with your life? I mean, why are you doing this? And she said it's something really sweet. She said, Beta, I've spent my life with one artist. I don't need another one in my life.
Feeling for her.
You know what I mean? And I could feel for her too.
But she was also like very important in putting your father where he was.
Meri baat. This is initially, I did the show.
Yeah.
Shukr alhamdulillah, things did sell, and I even had my best friend just, I was like, try anything in the book. Hussein, get, these people to buy something. I tried every trick in the book and it did sell. And then I would do a show in Lahore, Islamabad, and Karachi. Every year I'd have a show. Because I needed money.
But were they big pieces, small pieces?
Smaller pieces.
Because Ali Imam's gallery, I've seen it.
There were smaller pieces.
PCHS mein.
Right. There was
Choti
but it's still costly.
It does.
Because, after the first 3
months.
And
your hands, I remember Amin's hands were always black over here. You were burning your hands. You were welding away.
Yes. Metal work is a dirty job. It's like, it's not exactly, it's not as glamorous as painting, but I love it. And and also, Freya, it was really important for the first 3 months. My mother gave me 30,000 rupees a month as a stipend, and after the first 3 months, I could say, okay, thank you, I don't need this anymore.
Very good.
That really, Freya, it was, we smoked Belga cigarettes.
Yeah.
We drank the cheapest drink. But I paid for whatever we had. And, and so it was really important to me.
Yeah.
Because I told myself, if I don't support myself, I'll go back and go to law school or business school. Because you know what I mean? Like, I'll give up. It was really, really important for me. So
and also, when you have a very famous father who's already made it.
Yes, it's
and
a big
to
shadow.
Be the shadow. Like, I have my children, and thank God they have their own passion in music and not what I do.
No, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
And you know what, Freya?
It's difficult
what
to live up to that, man.
No, and also, initially when I would take him a small piece and say, Dada, what do you think? When I was making it, he said, Beta, show it to me when it's done.
Oh.
And I would get really hurt when I was a kid.
Okay.
And then, a few years after, like in my 30s, I looked back and said, thank you.
Yes.
You allowed me to be myself. You allowed me to learn myself.
Yeah.
To, it was such a gift a father can give a son, Freya.
Yes.
It was amazing.
It's
what
almost
gift
cruel to be kind.
No, exactly. It was such a gift he gave me, Freya, that otherwise I'd always have to rely on I had to trust myself.
Yeah.
And ultimately, art it has to be yours. Johnny?
Yeah. And it was so different from what your father was doing. The thing is, you went into sculpture, you did your own, you made your own niche. And then came the big stuff, right?
Yeah, but before it was jewelry. I want to talk about art.
Yeah, let's talk about jewelry. Yeah, we did so many
jewelry.
shows together. We did that show. Remember the mobile show?
The duplex show with these
300 people
that they were wearing
horses.
them. Yes, exactly.
Alexander the Great.
Yes. Because Freya, but what I loved about jewelry, because I made these all one of a kind shit.
Yes.
And what I loved about it is people wore it. Yeah. Like, I'm touching you on your neck, I'm touching you on your ears, it's me touching you.
Yes, exactly.
The sculpture I would always tell people, touch it,
yes.
but they would be shy. But with jewelry, they'd pick it up.
Yeah.
And and Dr. Anne-Marie Schimmel, right? Yeah. The authority on Sufism, the German academic. Once came over to my dad to visit my dad, and of course I'm a huge fan of her. So I'm like, Dr. Anne-Marie Schimmel, look at my work. And I said, I really, really want people to touch it. It's really important to be, Dr. Anne-Marie Schimmel. She said, Amin, the most Sufi word in the German language is begreifen.
Okay.
It means learning through touch, or that's how she explained it to me.
How beautiful.
And I thought, how beautiful. Yeah. So, there is something to that, to touch. And jewelry was, it was a crazy time, the 90s, were a fantastically alive time here, right? Yes. Karachi was going in civil war, but there was so much happening after.
I think it's
all
also
these
the rebellion. It's kind of like the rebellion from the young people that they want to create. Music was happening too.
Right, because after all of this military dictatorship and this Islamization.
Exactly.
And actually, what was funny was, at that point I was doing a lot of Gandharas and Krishna heads and Hindu gods. And because those are the sculptures I grew up with.
Right.
I came back very reactionary, like, I want to discover myself, my roots.
And my culture.
My culture, you know how it is,
our
right?
history,
And so I was really experimenting a lot with that. But at the same time, my calligraphy started. Yeah. And those heads were very popular, but when it came to Islamic calligraphy, people were like, why are you doing this?
But that was
one of the 90s, because it was such a reaction to those years of Islamization and having
Taliban
religion and all of this shoved down your throat.
Yeah.
It was another
and
thing.
Also because you're such a boisterous man. You're like completely out there and larger than life. And then you're like, how is he interested?
How does he get laid?
How does he do Allah? I mean, how does somebody like Amin go from being like this? Because that's the perception people have, the stereotype, right? They don't understand.
I'm high energy.
Yeah, that artists can have that spirituality and they understand God more because they're recreating things in God's
Al-Musawwir,
yes.
Right? And that's, again, that is a really personal thing for me, my relationship with the other. And during times of tragedy, you know, it really kicks in.
Yeah, it does.
It does. It does.
I
it
remember
does.
that time, and I remember how hard that was for you.
My
I
parents'
was,
murder, just to...
Yeah, I know. I was with you for
I know
3
that.
days straight.
I know that,
came
Freya. I
every day.
remember that, Johnny.
Oh,
I remember that.
holding
I
your
could just
hand.
remember your face looking at me.
Yeah.
I was in a state of shock, but I could see you looking
and I kept
at
talking
me.
to you and saying things that people had said to me when my brother had passed away.
I don't remember what, but I could just feel the energy, and it helped, Freya.
Yeah, I know.
It helped, Johnny.
I've never forgotten the things that you said. I'd never forgot them because I cannot even imagine to find, and also let's talk about that famous, we have the South City Hospital, and then we have the Gulgee House. Right
museum
on the
in Chala,
museum, right over
Gallery,
there. And then Amin had this rooftop. और Amin का ये भी था ना कि Amin हर चीज उठा के ना शीशा तोड़ के शीशा का बड़ा शौक. You love mirrors and you love glass.
I love mirrors. I love
glass.
broken glass. I like material.
Yeah.
I'm a material girl.
Yeah,
I love material. I love material.
Yeah. Just
But
putting
copper
it
and bronze are something
Yes.
gorgeous because Freya
Yeah.
Dekho, this will last. I mean, it has longevity.
Yeah, and I didn't know it was your face. It's so fun. I'm so
yes.
glad I've discovered that today. But
I want to talk about the 90s. This
talk
is
about
sad,
the 90s.
The Freya, that's where my performance art started,
Yes.
Johnny Pumpkins.
Yes.
Because fashion wasn't codified then. It was very open to experimentation.
Yes.
It was very theatrical.
I remember the first show I saw of yours, which Pommy did
G.
you. And I went and I was blown away.
Oh,
it was
Mary Jaan,
brilliant. The
Mary-
music was brilliant.
Right, Shah Murad.
Shah Murad. You introduced me to Shah
Ziad-
Murad and I got
Ziad
him to do
Bashir,
music for
yes.
me. Yes.
Ustads, they call themselves Ustads.
But they were amazing.
They were fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I began each section with a performance artwork,
Yes.
like piece, work.
Amin went with me to Japan also.
Oh,
We
that's
did the
right.
whole Mohenjo-daro and
Yes,
the Gandhara
yes,
thing.
yes. We did a performance work there.
And the Royal Albert Hall.
Oh God, yes.
We can't forget
where I performed myself. I
You
wore those
performed
horns.
and you had this Iman. I can never forget that picture. Iman Ali coming out
Right.
with the Sonia Bartla
And
was
I've
another
done all
one
of
you
this
loved.
sort of work with computer motherboards and copper, and Sonia Bartla was amazing.
Yes,
and
amazing. And then your father came
and
danced on stage.
I wish we had a video of that.
We do have a video.
Oh, give it to me.
Of course. Fifi Haroon has a video of that. And I just remember Abda Parveen sitting on stage and Gulgee gets up from the audience.
Yes.
And you dance like him, by the way, I have to tell you. You've danced together with him. So that's one of the things that you took from your father.
No,
And
that's what, you know.
There's this mad dance, it's kind of tribal.
Yes, exactly.
It's very you. And
They
it's
were very hormonal dancing.
और कोई नहीं करता ऐसे डांस मैंने किसी को पाकिस्तान में नहीं देखा डांस करते. And your father did that and he came and he gave Abda Parveen a big kiss on her forehead and she was shocked. But
there was a lot of love floating
there
around.
was so much love.
There was so much love floating around that
we
stage.
were all crying.
It was a moment in time.
Yes.
A happy desi moment in time, Johnny.
We were proud. And everybody was feeling happy.
Everybody was together for that one small moment.
That day, I don't think I'll ever have a show like that because
that was a
80
benchmark
artists
thing.
of Pakistan.
That was a benchmark
Yes,
thing.
it was.
That experimentation, it was so exciting. That's what, I'd really like to explore that decade because I think, and I want to, explore, like we did, me, John, and Niloufar Farouk did a book on the 1970s in Pakistan.
Okay,
and called Pakistan, the Radioactive Decade, because I think a lot of problems we're having today, 9/11, everything originates from that pivotal decade. And not just in Pakistan, there was Iran with the Islamic Revolution, and where everything went from left to right. And we're still battling these two forces. And the 90s would be interesting to explore one day,
And I think people don't
remember
know.
Visage with their shoots
Oh
in
my
it.
God,
oh my
yes.
God! It was also experimental back then, Johnny.
So did you go to America? When did you go to America? Because I met you in Brooklyn. I remember we went out together.
Yes.
So when was that?
We moved back in 97. 97, 98. We moved back. We moved back to Karachi.
Right.
And then we just jumped back
Jump back and forth. Because you're still doing that.
Yeah, I like jumping.
Yeah. And you're everywhere. That's why when I called
Acha,
him,
no.
I said, are
Wherever
you
they have
here?
me.
Are you going to be in Karachi? He's like, you met me yesterday. I was like, yes, I met you yesterday. But that doesn't mean you're still going to be here because you're always flying off somewhere.
No, but Freya, as an artist, like
Yeah.
I must work.
Yeah.
You know, I think through working, Freya.
Yeah.
And up till now, I've kept my practice really fresh. I've always challenged myself, like putting myself into, for me, I'm a control freak, right?
Yeah.
I like doing a sculpture which is done in my workshop. And, but when you're doing performance, it's like anything can happen.
Yes.
It's and I like that. It's been really wonderful. One project has I don't have any 5-year plan. One thing has led into another, has led into another, has led into another. And
When did you start curating?
I started curating in around 2000 at the Sheraton. It used to be the Sheraton.
Yeah.
They asked me to curate Urban Voices there.
Okay.
And I did 4 iterations, 4 years. I did it 1 year after another. And the commission, they would give an art scholarship to
Nice.
somebody to, So I didn't take a commission and they would give a scholarship.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because at that point, back in the day, those hotels were almost a public
Oh,
place,
that
a
was my first
semi-public
job,
place.
Yeah. Art gallery at Sheraton. That's where I
Yes.
had my exhibition as
Yes,
well.
that's where I saw it.
I was trying to be like you, like trying to get my art in there somehow. So I'll work for the gallery. Sadiq comes here and you came and Anwar Shafi came.
That's right.
And Saira Shad came
Yes.
and we were all together. Oh my God, we had such a blast.
No, so that was really exciting. And you know what I would do there?
Yeah.
I would create an Anwar, and everybody supported me. Nahid,
Yeah.
Anwar
Yeah.
Sar. I would put established people's work like Anwar and, Nahid, all these established artists.
And
then I would go around to young students and I would put their work up.
Right, so that was the
So
first.
that kind of contrast. And I'd call it Urban Voices.
Right. And then the house in Clifton, when did that happen?
That was 2000. It was built in the year 2000.
2000. It was an iconic, just because you could see Amin's sculpture.
And guess who designed it? Kishore Rizvi.
Really?
My place.
Well, I
My
remember
dad's
Kishore,
place.
Mehdi and Kishore.
You went to, this
School
is all
with
your
them.
grammarian crowd,
Grammarian
Johnny?
school, yes.
Yes. So Kishore Rizvi designed my space and Nayyar Ali Dada designed my dad's space.
And it's quite unique, people. If you haven't been to Amin Gulgee's place, it's quite unique. I've had press conference there. We've had parties there.
We'd have
You've
parties
had
there.
parties. And it's like levels and levels and levels. So it's like going through music. It is a museum.
It's an art space. So
is an
it's
art
clean
space,
and white
yeah.
and simple.
And open.
And then I have a roof.
And open.
I
And
mean,
it's
if I
full
shut
of-
there,
Or purana furniture. You've always, even in your parents' house, मैं हमेशा देखती थी कि वो एक तो obviously they bring stuff back from Swat and Chitral and all of
right,
that
right.
because there was also
Right,
sculpture there,
right,
the
right,
sculpture's
right.
still there.
Yes.
And this time I tried to find when I went to Kafristan because they are the only ones who do sculptures
Right,
because obviously यहाँ
right.
allowed ही नहीं है.
Right.
Chitral में allowed
Right,
था ना because
right,
they're a
right.
different religion.
Right.
And it's hard to find that right now because,
Right.
again...
Yeah, the things that you could
seep down.
find back in the 70s, you can
Yeah.
no longer, even the
Yeah.
modernists, that'll all go.
Yes, I know.
They'll
But
all go.
hopefully not. Let's see. There's
No,
always
things
hope.
go, Freya.
Things go
There
and then new
always
things
you can
come.
and new things come.
Yeah.
But there are always things that you can get at a certain moment in time. That you should, I remember my father would collect antiquities.
Yes.
And my mother would say, Gulgee, what have you done? We can't afford this. But it's like, no,
Yeah.
Zaro, I must have it.
Yeah.
And they did it even when they had very little money.
But you also made your own furniture.
I did
in
my
the
own.
house. There's a table.
Hey,
there's a
listen,
bench.
it's much cheaper too. Yeah, and also I'm an object
Sewing
maker.
machine का कुछ बनाया
I'm
हुआ
an
है,
object maker. For me,
Yeah.
I love form.
Rickshaw.
Freya. A rickshaw, yes.
मेरे बच्चों की बर्थडे पे मैंने रिक्शा बोरो किया अमीन गुलजी का रिक्शा घर पे आया इधर ही क्लिफ्टन से and all the kids were taking a ride in it. It was amazing. So this is amazing.
So I love objects.
Yeah.
I'm an object maker.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing an installation or a small piece, it's wonderful and it's wonderful. Just the act. Like Freya, I'm just doing a show, right? Like I've invited you February 7th.
Yes.
It's called Spooky Action at a Distance. Yeah, that's the title of my show. It's a quote from Einstein, and it's going to be a performance work where I'm collaborating with 17 other people.
Lovely.
And it's called Fairy Tale 72.
Okay.
And that's going to be on the same day. We're going to end the exhibit opening with the performance.
Yeah. Nice.
And yeah.
So I also did a show with you, which was a one night stand. It was called One Night. The name.
Oh, that's right.
The name itself would bring people to the show, right? Like, what's going on?
Ravaiti one night.
Ravaiti one night stand.
Very Ravayat hai na ji.
बिल्कुल. तो उसमें I was also collaborating, and
I know you did a work for me.
I did.
And that was the first large performance art show I think that has happened in Pakistan.
Beautiful. There was a guy walking around with an umbrella who would just walk, and then he would walk with you. Start walking with you.
And follow you around with it. Because it was about surveillance.
It was so good.
Yeah, there was so many good works there. And I was so happy to have your energy there, Freya. And you know what's cool about Karachi? And our milieu, you can pick up the phone and say, hey, Freya, you want to do a work for me? And you'll say, yes. And then we can work together. And you step outside your comfort zone.
Yes, exactly.
And you come to,
Because we are bored all the time. We keep doing the same. We don't want to do the same things all the time.
Exactly.
We want to explore, and somebody who's artistic calls you up and says, hey.
No, but it's so wonderful that you have the courage to sort of take that.
Absolutely. You got to do that.
Line.
Guys, you've got to get out of your comfort zone. If you don't get out of the comfort zone,
no, it's true. Freya, you're bahut zaruri. You have to. Actually, you have to constantly get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, this is not my idea. This podcast is my son's idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said, you always talk so much. Go sit and talk to people.
It's good. And also you're documenting, Freya. You're documenting a certain time and place and a certain scene and a certain, like during the 70s, like going back into archives, there's nothing. There's so little.
But I have everything.
And now these things
are
people
know this. Like, I keep all my archives.
No, it's good. It's really, really, really important, Freya, because we have to write our own history.
And not just
history has to be written by us.
All of us together.
Yes.
Together.
By us, by Pakistanis.
Exactly.
History has to be written by us, right?
Yeah.
And this is the way that other generations can look back and have somewhere to access.
Right. Okay. So all of this and more. And then I know that it's difficult for you to talk about it, but it was a very difficult. I want to know, I know that you also did a show about healing.
Yes.
Right? After your parents. That must have been a horrible experience. I know it was a horrible experience because I was there. And I know, but you went through a lot of shit? Because you remember you calling me up and saying, can you imagine they are even accusing me, not accusing me, but they've got their eyes on me as well. Like,
no. Actually, Freya, at that point, you know what happened, Jan? 10 days later, Benazir was assassinated and all of Karachi burnt, and I was in a state of shock, and I was doing well till that time.
Okay.
And then when that happened, my back collapsed. My back caved in. No, absolutely. I've always I've always had low back issues because I'm always bending over
down,
doing my stupid shit. So I've always had low, but it collapsed. And I remember going to the surgeon, and I went to the surgeon, and he said, you need surgery. And I said, I cannot afford to have surgery now because I have too many responsibilities. I'm keeping everything together. The murderers were not caught. They were caught eventually, but they were not caught at that time. I feel
and
very...
You're scared
I feel
also.
as I'm threatened. It's just me and John here.
Exactly.
And I felt, so luckily, and this is the way life works, I had 2 shows already. These shows are scheduled a year, 2 years in advance.
Yes, right.
So I had a show at the end of the year at the Petronas Gallery, in Gallery Petronas, which is inside the Petronas Towers. And then I had another show in Malaysia, and then I had another show at Art Space Dubai, which is inside the DIFC. We were back to back. Yeah. And my back caved in, and so I would go for electric shock therapy, which would just at the back, and it would just end the pain a bit. And I would, it would take me an hour to walk from here to that wall. I would hobble like a really old man. And I had to hobble to my workshop. But that hobbling to my workshop is what kept me sane and alive.
So art,
that hobbling, and perhaps the pain helped, the physical pain helped, to keep me,
because
when I discovered their bodies, my world went black.
Yeah.
No, it went black.
Yeah.
It just went black. But it was the pain and then hobbling and making something. Making something, and that's when I did my ripping the bird's nest pieces, and then which were really,
Angry,
and then you're not angry, but just whatever.
Yeah.
And then I did my cosmic chapati, which were very serene.
Yes.
And and
beautiful.
that's where those two series emanate from.
Yeah.
One was extremely controlled, dealing in space, and the other is just very,
Cosmic Chapati.
yes.
What a name.
I know.
Yeah,
It was
how did that happen?
And
Was
they
it a
all done one
chapati?
wire at a time, and they all deal with space and dividing up
Yeah.
space, and they're very meditative, and these two series happened of mine, and so that the work kept me alive. The work kept me alive.
That's
The
always,
kept
work
me
is a
alive.
crutch. It is a huge crutch.
News ke baat to Freya, seriously, everything went black. I didn't want to live.
Really? I'm so sorry.
Everything went black for me. My parents were everything. You have to understand.
Did you go for-
I was connected with both of them.
I know.
With my mother, she would talk about the micro. What are you doing tomorrow? And and my father was great. When I would get really frustrated, I'd go knock on his door. Dada, I hate everybody. He said, Beta, come here, have a drink. And then we would sit and he would make me laugh. And I could make him laugh. And he was wicked. Nobody knows that about my dad. He was wicked.
How wicked.
Wicked. He was wicked.
Like a
he
wicked
was
sense of
funny
humor.
Wicked.
Funny
no,
wicked.
but wicked,
That's what
like
I'm saying.
cutting. He could see people and just just a word. He was a maestro.
Wow.
He just a few sentences and you would be like, oh my God, Dada. And he would just crack up.
Wow.
But he was wicked. He was fantastic.
Wow. I know, he was.
They were both. There was
You
such,
are very blessed to have such a
and there was such the Pakistani dream, Johnny.
Yeah,
they made
they
it
did,
all the
really.
money through the arts, and
Yeah.
they lived art life,
Yeah.
and they were so confident.
Yes.
It's another generation of Pakistan where you're culturally
Yeah.
so incredibly confident.
Yeah, it's true. So it's also a great legacy. I will say that this to people, that you are very blessed if you've had an amazing set of parents who have
mashallah.
inspire you, or
Yes.
give you to choose. You chose your path,
Right.
but also they're the ones who made you become khudar. Okay, I will not take money after this from my mother. That's also their upbringing, which is coming into you.
But
right?
I remember, with my mom, we'd like take a car out, and she'd say, "Amin, look outside. Do you see that boy your age? The only difference that you're sitting in the car is because you have your father. You have done nothing for this. You're both the same." That like
by teaching, those are
reality check.
teaching.
Yeah.
Check. It's so true, and it is. And I also remember you telling me, Baba asked you about the Natya Gali house, and you said, "Wo to gaya."
No, because right after my parents' murder, these land grabbers started. My father invested very wisely in property.
Yes.
And right after that, all these land grabbers came and started taking one property after another. And, the lawyers are now, the
It's
only
still
way
happening,
I can do
huh?
it's still going on. But it's fine, Freya.
Yeah.
Let it go. I'm not going to let it affect my life. And inshallah, one hopes for the best. Okay, theek ho jayega.
Are you also keeping it all together, like the legacy of your dad? Have you been able to?
Yes, I haven't sold any of his paintings.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I
That's
love
okay.
them. I love his work, Freya.
That's okay.
And inshallah, I would like, to set up the museum, inshallah, in a very small capacity. It'll be a private museum. And
that's fine.
Because these paintings, that's just so incredible.
That's amazing.
Just incredible work. It was. I look at him. I love him as a father, but as an artist.
Yeah.
You look at him as an artist, and you look at him and you look at him, and you look at the shit, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that man.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. Oof.
Oof. Mashallah. Wow. Yeah. No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then you have your own legacy, and then you're continuing to. Or तुम्हारी energy.
I'm old now, Freya.
I'm not that old.
Honey,
yeah.
तुम तो बच्ची हो. Now I remember when you were a little kid sitting on my lap.
All right. I think we graduated around the same time.
Okay. So last year
Yeah.
was the year I worked like more than I've ever worked in my life.
Yeah.
I began it with the rickshaw project. With
Yeah.
me and Adam curated this performance art show where I had my rickshaw going from Empress Market to Qaeda Bazaar, and we had 9 performance works coming in and out of it.
Wow.
Then I did a show at Frere Hall where I did a performance work and a big sculpture.
Yeah.
Then I did this 30-foot by 18-foot installation at the Lahore fort.
So, okay, so
Then
now,
I went to
wow.
Chicago
Yeah.
and did a 3-month-long show there,
Wow.
4-month-long show at the South Asian Institute.
Wow.
Then I went to Paris and did a big, huge
But you get
installation
paid
there.
for all of this?
No, we'll talk.
Performance art में रिक्शे के अंदर तो कोई नहीं तुम्हें पैसे
I
देगा।
don't get paid. We're not going to get into that. That's depressing. And then I did the Biennale.
Yeah.
Then we did Jaga Hai, which was the
Yeah.
largest performance art happening in
Yeah.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
And then I curated this Amin show, this
Yeah.
French artist.
Yeah.
And now my year ends on February 7th.
Right.
With this show. That's when officially 2022 ends for
Ends
me.
for you. Okay.
And it's been the craziest,
I know, because you walked.
craziest
He walked
year
in
for me.
here and he was half crazy and he left. Then he came back. And he was like, "jaldi karo." And then, I mean, I can see
तुम
this
मेरा
energy.
भांडा फोड़ रही हो।
नहीं, मैं बोल रही हूँ कि I understand you because
Yeah.
I am you.
I know.
I do exactly the same
But
thing.
this is our
I
generation,
do this
Johnny.
to them. I
Yeah.
do it to them all the time. They know.
Okay, good.
Because I walk in, why you क्यों नहीं तैयार हुआ? What is
Yeah.
this not ready? La 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 la.
But look, yeah.
Say sorry 2 minutes later, come back and say, Acha, dikhao. You know?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Because there's that energy and there's so much more to do. And there's so much still to do.
And also
there's
you're a perfectionist. Like I'm a
Yeah.
perfectionist.
Yes.
Like if you're going to
Do it right.
It doesn't matter. But look, the Rickshaw
Yeah.
Project, a lot of these projects are non-commercial for
Yes.
you. You have to understand
Yeah.
that. But that doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
the work.
Because the passion.
The passion, you
The-
know,
the-
and
the
I want
work,
to do this. You
the
know, like Jaga
self-work.
Hai was, I opened my entire house out. We had so many people coming
Yeah.
through. At one point, one architect turned to a friend of mine and said, this building might be compromised because there were just so many people.
Oh, really?
I opened it up to the roof.
Oh, wow.
And I advertised it on Instagram. And it was just
People just kept coming in.
coming. It was flooded, Freya.
And you
For
weren't
like
afraid
2
people are
hours,
gonna
just
take
flooded
things?
with people.
Just any random.
Yes, of course.
No
because
chowkidar, no nothing.
No, because
Yeah.
that's the whole idea, right?
Right.
Jaga hai and performance art like canvas. Everybody's invited.
Yes.
I'm not interested in just kowtowing to the elite.
You want
I
everyone
want
to-
everybody,
Yeah.
Johnny.
And you want
It's
people
really-
to touch and you want to feel.
touch me, touch my work,
And
touch.
feel.
And feel it.
See. And
experience.
absorb, yeah.
And I like non-art people coming into the fold. People who would not normally be there.
Yeah.
You have to break those walls.
Barriers,
Yes.
huh? Because art is no barrier.
No, art is for everybody. It's not
Everybody.
just for the elite.
Yeah.
That's why public works are so important.
I like that.
मेरा sculpture गायब हो गया.
मुझे
My
पता है यार,
sculpture
I was there
disappeared
at the
from
opening, man.
Bilawal Charangi.
Yeah,
It's
what the
gone.
hell? Overnight.
Overnight.
How does that happen?
And that happened. My parents were murdered in December 2007.
Yeah.
January 2008, I was going with John, and he turns around and says, Amin, your sculpture's gone.
Oh my
And I looked at it, and at that point, I was state of shock. I didn't care. But at least my sculpture in front of the Parliament building is still there.
Yeah.
The airport sculpture. No, it matters to me as an artist. Freya ke log dekhenge, yaar. People will see it.
Yeah.
Otherwise it stays
And
in
also
some
the
rich
see-
person's house like yours.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Some elite
little-
person's house like yours. Like,
Yeah.
who's going to see it here?
Right, you're right.
You know
You're
what?
right. You
People
have to
see it. People
I
at
agree.
large will
Yeah,
see it,
I
you know.
agree, I agree.
With the, it
But I have
matters.
shows that everybody sees, okay? My work, people get to see. Maybe not my house, but what I do is advertise. It's on television. It's for public. It's very public. I've been
I
doing
know,
that for
Johnny.
donkey years. That's what I've done. Okay. So we have to do something together. I think, also, I'm kind of inspired after talking to you because I have a project
Okay,
that I'm
good.
doing. Yeah.
Chalo,
I think
hum
that,
karte
and
hain.
it's history, and there's a lot of thing going in the museum. The words that you've been taking and wanting,
Yeah.
and it's part of that. So I think this is something that we could
Let's
work on
do it,
together.
baby.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
have
yeah.
some fun together.
When are you going back to New York, baby?
Yeah, abhi New York idhar. Abhi to I have to sit here and get this off the ground.
Okay.
This is my big thing. Right
Yeah.
after, I've not scheduled
So
anything
2
after.
weeks. There's about a few weeks left. 1 week.
No, it's Feb 7th.
Ah,
It's next
4
week.
days, 4 days.
Yes, why do you think I'm freaking
That's
out?
why he was crazy. Yeah, but this is me too.
I know,
3
I know.
a.m., 3 days before my son's wedding, I'm sitting in the office at 3 a.m. And while everyone's dancing and getting their clothes made,
You're on the laptop.
I'm like, I'll get the clothes from my friends and I'm sitting and working. Yeah, that's us.
No, it's good. No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
good,
yeah.
Johnny. It's
all
good.
It is good.
Yeah. Otherwise, what's it? Yeah. What's the
Exactly.
point in
Yeah,
anything?
yeah. I think I chilled out on the wedding and I was like, okay, now I
No, I can
now I
like
can
chill.
dance.
Yeah.
Now I can dance.
Exactly.
Now it's done.
I mean, sorry time.
Sorry, time. Oh my god. Yeah, and Sonia Bartla's coming back. I just saw her some stuff that she's just.
Oh, she's amazing. I have
She
such
is.
respect.
Wow.
She's a real, and she's wonderful. Free. I
Yeah.
remember when I first met Sonia,
yeah.
I saw alchemy, and she
Yeah.
walked into my workshop,
yes.
and I don't let anybody into my workshop. And she
Yes.
came, she had wet hair,
Yeah.
and I just fell in love with her.
Oh, I know. And
I
she's
fell
an
in love
artist
with
on
her. She's
for
an
clothes,
artist.
and it was just amazing what you guys did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of the best shows I've
मैंने
ever
सोनिया का कुर्ता पहना हुआ है
Abhi,
जी।
wow. Wow. And leather pants at that. ये भी तो पहने हुए ना, ये भी तो देखो. I mean, और एक cross भी पहना हुआ है, cross भी पहना.
No, it's from Notre Dame.
ये तुमने नहीं
Before
बनाया?
burnt.
ये तुमने नहीं बनाया?
Nothing of this is mine. Freya, I don't
अच्छा.
even own. You own more jewelry than I do.
I have
Of
no
mine. No, I don't have anything left.
Really? Wow.
I don't have any pieces left. It was a clean break
Yeah.
because I loved making it, and you know
Yeah.
something. Maybe I'll go back to it, but I needed a clean break.
Yeah.
I needed a clean break.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's like what you're saying. Moving on.
Moving on, something
Reinventing.
else, you know.
Reinvent.
And also, free of my work, I don't sketch or draw anything.
Yeah.
You have to understand, it's physical.
Yeah.
And I'm super old. मैं बुजुर्ग हूँ. I'm an ancient.
Why do you dance? Why do you dance like this? I want to know what this tribal dance. Where does that come from?
From my hormones. I can't keep them down. And so
Yeah, this has
no,
been a
no,
great.
you have to understand. My stuff is physical, Freya. It's super
I know,
physical. You know,
I know.
it's hard.
Also, it's been hard.
And-
Okay,
and-
forget. Physically, did it hurt you? The fingers I knew were getting burnt and black.
No,
and
that
all.
doesn't hurt at all.
Right?
You can get over burns insurance. That's not a
Acha.
big deal. And I mean, I never took.
Your back-
I was really bad
Yeah.
with like not wearing gloves for acid and things like that. But that's fine.
Right.
But it's physically demanding.
Yes.
And I always thought, you know, I mean, you don't sketch or draw. You just go there and you do your crap. So.
Oh, you don't
know,
even sketch.
I don't sketch, Freya. Everything is in my head.
Oh, God, that's
and then I
tough.
sit with it, you know.
But
and
you
then,
do it alone, or do you
no, I
have other
have
people
guys. I have
helping
guys. I have
you?
guys,
Yeah,
you know,
because
one person
all
holds,
sculptors
one person
do.
welds.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole. But I always. That's why I stopped making jewelry because it's that. I mean, you're no spring chicken, and you have so much energy.
Yeah.
And do your sculpture while you can.
Right.
And then when you become, jewelry is much easier.
Easier,
Chota, and it's much
chota,
easier.
chota.
So I can always sit on a table.
Yeah.
And do necklaces and
Yeah,
earrings and like you know,
yeah.
it's much smaller, but
Yeah.
it's larger shit.
Yeah.
And right now I have this iron horn which weighs like 400. It's huge. It's
Oh,
like,
we haven't talked about the breastplates and the pregnant ones.
yes.
Let's talk about that.
Fine.
Okay,
fine.
that was part of fashion.
No, and fashion, and
Yeah.
that continued into my performative works.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea, because look at an African mask, right?
Right.
It doesn't. It's not meant to be viewed as an object. It's
Right.
meant to be performed
Right.
in a ritual.
Yes.
And that really, I did a lot of African art classes, and it really intrigued me. I wanted to create my own rituals
Yeah.
with my own objects. So they're just okay as an object; they can sit there, but they're worn, they're moved,
Yeah.
they've become part of the story.
Yeah.
And that's where these plates and these breastplates and these
yeah.
helmets and
Yeah.
these armbands, and
Yeah.
I wanted them moved and performed, and
Yeah.
they can stand on their own as an object, but they belong to my personal ritual,
Right.
and it's so into that.
Wow. And the
Yeah.
pregnant one also.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, yeah.
That was and that's what Fairy Tale 72. I have
Right.
7 helmets that they
Yeah.
were going to be performing.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
And you've kept everything.
No, I make.
You
I'm
redo them?
constantly- No, I make new ones.
Yeah,
Like Johnny,
okay.
I evolve it.
Right.
And the other forms come
Right,
in, you know, and
yeah.
you evolve this.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So what a journey. I hope everybody gets really inspired by this story. I think you will. The energy in this room has just lifted, right? And yeah, you agree with me, guys? This is just amazing.
No, everybody looks bored to death.
No, they don't. Actually, you guys need to go to. We need to go to the 7th. You have to go and actually see one
come,
of
my lady,
Amin's
come,
shows.
my lady.
It's so inspiring. It is so different, and it's just art working art.
Yeah.
You know, motion.
And
then-
also sculpture.
Yeah.
Like I did this handpiece. You know, your handpiece, that is about like 10 feet high.
Right.
See, I'm getting larger and larger in my scale. It's like, it's...
But you got large यार वो पार्लियामेंट के सामने प्राइड परफॉर्मेंस भी मिल गया ना
Yeah, I was
वो
really
कौन सा
happy.
साल था
That was Musharraf.
Musharraf era.
Yeah, that was Musharraf
Okay,
time.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was a cool
while
time
ago.
too, by the way. That wasn't a bad time. I actually enjoyed that time. The beginning of
Well,
it.
one hopes for the best for the
Yes,
country. At the
yeah.
end of the day, you are Pakistani.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
true.
that's just the way it
Yeah,
is. And one hopes for the best. Inshallah. Big eye on that.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, everybody, please go see the show.
Please see the show.
Yeah.
Come.
And it's going to be...
Come and experience. And also the energy. Priya, you know, all these people I'm hanging out with because I'm a geriatric, but I hang around all these 20-something-year-olds.
And there's got some amazing...
No, I hate them. I've told them I hate them. But for some reason...
You're jealous. You're jealous.
Absolutely.
Because they're
I tell
young.
them that.
You
I
want to
hate
be
you.
20.
No, I don't want to. God,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Oh, no. I never want
But
to be 20. I do not want to be 20.
Then why do you hate them?
I don't know. I just they don't need Botox. Although I have never done Botox, but like I'm debating it, and I'm terrified of needles. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, don't do it.
Anyway, but it's funny.
It's the youth.
It's not. Freya,
it's
really,
about the-
it's really. I'm not into them.
It's
in
not
fact,
vanity. It's not vanity.
It's not. It's just the way it's happened in my life, and nothing for me is really planned.
Yeah.
And I'm surrounded with them in Paris, in New York, and in Karachi.
Yeah.
This whole generation. My curator is Adam Fahi Majid,
Right.
who's 26 years old,
Right,
who did his master's thesis on me at the
Really?
Art Institute of Chicago.
Nice.
And
Someone's doing a thesis on you? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And he's my curator for the show.
Oh,
Yes.
wonderful. For this show?
For this show.
Oh, he's here now?
He's here.
Wow.
He's here. He's curating me.
Very
He's my
nice.
curator.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sounds
so all
good.
of this energy. So
Yeah.
please come.
And don't forget to like and to comment and to subscribe to FWhy. We will be back again with another very interesting guest. But for now, Khuda Hafiz. Allah
Thank you.